Greetings, Tezos Nation. Welcome to another edition of TezTalks Live. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons. Joining me today are founder Andrew Polachek and marketing lead / community manager Ethan Herlihy, both from Tezos Domains. Tezos Domains, for those who might not know, is the distributed, open, and extensible domain naming system for all those here in the Tezos ecosystem. Tezos Domains TED token launch has recently gone live, and the TED token airdrop is currently underway. These fine gentlemen have joined us today to tell us all about exactly what that means and how everyone in the Tezos ecosystem can get involved. On today's stream, we'll be giving away a very special Tezos Domains prize pack to one of our lucky viewers. It contains 1,000 TED tokens and 3 domains, courtesy of our good friends at Tezos Domains. If you'd like that lucky viewer to be you, keep an ear out for a keyword later on during the stream. And of course, if you have any questions for Andrew and Ethan that you'd like me to ask, please add them in the chat at any time, and we'll get to as many as we can before we wrap up. Hi, Andrew and Ethan. Where are each of you right now, and how is the weather?
Hi guys, excited to be here. I'm in Czech Republic at the moment. It's dark outside, a little bit chilly, but otherwise good.
And I'm in San Diego, California. Nice morning here. Of course, the weather's beautiful here year round. So
lovely. To get the ball rolling, Andrew, can you talk us through the founding of Tezos Domains and why you felt like it was the right project for you to focus your energy on?
Absolutely. So we essentially started working with Tezos in 2018 when Tezos went into the mainnet. We started with our bakery, and then we have worked on a couple of developer tooling projects. And after that, we basically felt like it was time for us to start doing something bigger, something that would be meaningful as a DApp and would also help people maybe onboard Tezos in general. And yeah, one of those things that came to my mind was basically a naming service. So that's why I believe it was around 2020. That's why we started working on it. With the help from Tezos Foundation, we were able to bootstrap the project off the ground. And then in 2021, we went live. And yes, since then, the Tezos Domains is in production and people are using it.
Right on. And Ethan, for those who might not be familiar just yet, what exactly is Tezos Domains and what is its place here in the Tezos ecosystem?
So Tezos Domains is a blockchain domain name service, taking long strings of address and turning it into something name readable. For example, ethan.tez. .tez is the domain name that we use. These domains can also be used to point directly to a website. So the ability to kind of host from a .tez page, which is super cool as well. And of course, once you own a domain, you also have the capability to mint unlimited subdomains for free, which is also super cool. And there's a bunch of different character lengths that you can grab. Our 3 characters are 100 Tezos. Our 4 characters are 25 Tezos. And our 5 characters are 1 Tezos, which is just super great value considering the price of Tezos at the moment. So yeah, that's a little bit about the project, and super excited to share more.
Okay. And why is it important for users in a blockchain ecosystem like this to have their own customized domain?
Yeah, so these domains kind of represent your Web3 identity almost. And of course, as Tezos blockchain is a growing ecosystem with great art and a lot of growing products, super important to just grab your identity if you're going to build a brand, or even just if it's your name, just kind of to represent yourself, because these domains are integrated in a lot of different platforms, and you'll be able to kind of see that when a bunch of people have their names. So,
okay. And Andrew, as
I would just add a great
please.
answer, Ethan, and I would just add that at that time and also now, I always felt like what basically is hard for most people when they are onboarding on crypto is that the UX is not that great, let's say. And like having the actual readable names and use them instead of all the hashed addresses is one step that we can take in order to improve that UX for an average user, right? So all of us are interacting with the wallets every day or with the block explorers, and then you just see a bunch of unreadable strings. And once you start actually using the names, it's become much more better in terms of readability and overall user experience.
And one of our viewers asks, will there ever be a one-letter domain name?
That's a good question. So we haven't actually decided whether we will open the 2-letter and 1-letter namespace. I think this is probably one of the things that should be governed by the DAO. And yeah, a good question. So I think this might come up.
That's an excellent answer. So as the Tezos ecosystem grows and more users and brands and platforms get involved in the space, what role do you envision these domains playing in the digital lives of Tezos users?
I would say that what we would like to see is basically Tezos Domains would be something like one of the very first things that people that are onboarding or that the people that are starting within Tezos are using, because the app itself, we will try to make it's super easy to use, but we will obviously try and work on it and make it even easier for people who are just onboarding in this ecosystem. And yeah, I feel like this is like one of the things that people can actually use right out of the gate, right? So it's not super hard. You can basically pick your own name. It's not expensive, so it's available to everybody.
I mean, like you said, it seems like getting your own domain name and having a personalized name that people can recognize you by should be sort of an integral part of the onboarding process. What would you like to see put in place to help streamline that part of the process and make that happen?
It's a great question. So one of the things that we would like to work on probably next year, because the plan for this final quarter is pretty packed, but we would like to work a little bit more closely with the wallet and wallet teams specifically. And I think what we would like to see is something like basically an optional step when people are creating their wallet, where they would be able to either get a free domain, which would be, for example, andrew.kukai.tez or andrew.temple.tez, something like that, or any other wallet, basically, that the wallet provider would be able to hand out, because the third level subdomains or third level domains, they are free and unlimited essentially. And people would be also able to actually get their own domain at that step, right? Optionally. So it wouldn't really be something that people would have to do, but it would be a great point actually to learn about the project and familiarize with it.
That's interesting. So as I mentioned off the top, the TED token has recently gone live, and the TED token airdrop is currently underway. Can you explain for those who might not know what exactly TED tokens are and what their purpose is?
Yeah, I can share a little bit more about that.
Please.
So TED is the governance token of Tezos Domains. This token can be used as voting rights within the DAO. And of course, some of the things that you can vote on within the DAO would be use of treasury funds for registrations and any interactions with the smart contracts from the tech team, as well as any off-chain business development needs. And so in order to vote on the Tezos Domains dashboard, you have to stake your tokens. And of course, these will receive APR. It's about 40% at the moment. And by staking, you receive TED-V, which is a wrap voting token. So this token will be able to be delegated to other users. So if you'd like someone else to represent your votes, maybe a trusted person in the space, you can delegate to them, or of course you can represent your own voting power within the DAO. So that's a little bit about TED-V and TED and how it can be used as governance.
Okay. And how is the airdrop going so far?
I think it's going pretty well. I think at the moment we have around 7 or 8% of the total airdrop claimed. So people have a lot of time actually to claim the airdrop. There is no rush, but obviously if you claim earlier and if you stake earlier, the APR is going to be a bit higher, right? Because we're essentially going to be distributing a fixed amount of the tokens to the staking pool. And since the staking pool is now smaller in terms of that tokens, so the APR is higher, and the APR will in the future will probably go down as more people will join, right? So I think the number of wallets that claim the airdrop is around 5,000 now, and it's going to be around 350K TED tokens or so. So the average airdrop is going to be around 95 TED tokens, I believe. And the airdrop itself is essentially vested. So when you are going to be claiming it, you're getting 25% right away, and the rest will be linear invested over 3 months. So you can either claim 25% now and stake it now, or you can basically wait and get all of it later on. That's up to you guys. You will have plenty of time. So there's within this 3 months vesting period, there's another 6 months period where you can claim everything. So in total, it's 9 months, essentially from yesterday or day before yesterday.
Okay. So the TED tokens that people receive are based on how many wallets get involved. You divide the total, the 350K, by that number of wallets, and that's what you get?
Actually, yeah, great question. So we have a blog post that's describing everything about the airdrop. It's on blog.tezos.domains. You can check it out. It's essentially fairly simple. What we tried to do was to distribute to as many people as possible, as fairly as possible. So and we did quite a lot of on-chain data analytics, and we basically bundled up the addresses that were having similar source of funds, and that basically looked like they belonged to the same guy, same person. And essentially what we tried to do was to make airdrop as Sybil resistant as possible, because we found out that there were a couple of addresses that basically would dilute the airdrop for everybody else quite a lot, right? So we've tried to mitigate that and get the airdrop itself to the biggest possible user group. So we're distributing to 60,000 addresses at the moment.
Okay. And what can I do with my TED tokens once I've claimed them? Like, can I use them to buy a Tezos domain, for example?
That's a great question. This is something we have on the roadmap, and we would definitely like to propose this feature to the DAO, because I think it absolutely makes sense for people who own the tokens to get a discount on their domain, right? Because you're essentially already supporting the project, you're already part of the governance, you're already part of the project, so you shouldn't be paying the full amount for your domains, right? Because you're already basically a DAO member, and so that's going to be a first use case. I'm hoping that we will find more.
Okay. And speaking of hoping to find more, Dual Bits has asked, will there be any future applications for TED tokens?
Another great question. So this is something that I'm hoping the DAO will help out a little bit as we decentralize the project, that people will basically bring their own ideas into the project, and then we can vote on them and discuss them on the forum. So I would just like to say here that if you guys are thinking about integrating Tezos Domains, if you guys are thinking about doing something on top of Tezos Domains, or just working with it, and you would like to receive some form of support or grant, then obviously please reach out to us, or we have a discourse forum at talk.tezos.domains. So there's going to be a category soon that's going to be open for the project proposals, and then I would really love to see people proposing their own ideas and projects there, where we can help out with the funding as well.
Very cool. So can you walk us through the process of participating in the TED token airdrop and claiming our TED tokens? What do we need to do exactly?
Yeah, I could speak a little bit on this. So of course, there was a snapshot period for the airdrop. It was cut off on April 30th, 2023. So if you fall within that window of interacting on our application, your wallet that you used will be eligible for the airdrop. And you can head over to our site. There will be a banner on app.tezos.domains, and it'll say claim your airdrop. You can go ahead and claim. It'll bring you to the dashboard where you collect. It'll share a little bit of information about the specifics of the tokenomics, and from there it'll show your calculation and how much you've earned, and then you can either choose to stake it right there, and then give it to a delegate or keep it for yourself and have your own voting rights. And so shows all of that right there on the dashboard, right when you're claiming, and just super simple, easy way to claim directly through our app.
Okay. And I know you touched on this already, but for people who are eligible, how much time do they have to complete that process?
Quite a while. I don't know the exact cutoff date. I'm not sure if we have that planned yet. Andrew might know.
I think, yeah, it's basically 9 months from now, because it's 3 months is the vesting period, and then after the vesting period it ends, it's another 6 months to claim. So they have 9 months from now, so quite a long time. And then, yeah, it's maybe important to mention that currently the plan is that we will essentially move the unclaimed tokens back to the treasury. But I think it's another thing that we can vote on the DAO side, that we can either basically burn them, we can also move them to the treasury, or we can do another promotion with them or another future airdrop. So yeah, that's basically everything is up for discussion.
Very cool. This is all great stuff so far. I'm excited to learn more, but before we get into the nitty gritty, are you ready for the world famous TezTalks lightning round?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Let's do it.
Great. Just before we do that, I'd like to announce today's keyword for the Tezos Domains prize pack we're giving away today. Today's keyword is !TED. Enter the keyword !TED in the live stream chat, and Nightbot will randomly select today's winner, who we'll announce before the end of the stream. Okay, now, Andrew and Ethan, it is lightning round time. Remember, there are no wrong answers. This is just for fun, so our viewers can get to know you a little bit better. For each question, you can each provide an answer, and I'll tell you whose answer I like better. Are you ready?
Ready?
Yes, let's do it.
Number one, the best cuisine in the world comes from which country?
Italian.
Ooh, I'd have
Italy.
to say Korean. KBBQ.
All right, I'm giving this one to Ethan. The best movie ever made is?
Dark Knight.
Surf's Up.
Andrew gets that one.
All right, fair enough.
What's the perfect thing to do on a rainy day?
I guess code, probably.
Play video games for me.
Ethan gets that one. Speaking of coding, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to write code on your day off?
3 out of 10.
You're both winners on that one. And finally, what is the meaning of life?
That's a tough one.
Enjoy yourself and help others.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Yeah, I would just say exactly. Enjoy, be happy, and help others, and maybe build something that you're proud of.
Fabulous. Those were excellent answers, and you're both winners for participating. This concludes the TezTalks lightning round. Let's get back into it. Now that we've talked a bit about Tezos Domains and the TED token airdrop, I'd like to dive a little deeper into exactly what the role of this token is here in the Tezos ecosystem and how it works. As I understand it, Tez tokens are a governance token that will be a key element in the Tezos Domains governance process. Can you explain what this means in practical terms? Like, what types of things will those who hold TED tokens be helping to govern?
Absolutely. So essentially, the project will be fully decentralized at the moment. So we're gonna be looking into proposing the very basic stuff, which is starting with operational budget, development budget, stuff like that. That basically keeps the project up and running, up to funding on the external contributions, funding for the external projects that are integrating with Tezos Domains and helping ecosystem in general. So I think the breadth or the width is actually quite wide of this, but it's completely focused on the governance itself.
Okay, and as you mentioned earlier, am I correct in understanding it's not just a matter of holding TED tokens and automatically having voting authority? It's also involves staking your TED tokens as well? Okay.
That's correct. So people can actually get quite a good yield or return at the moment. but as we discussed, this will go lower. We have another blog post actually, which we just published. It's on the blog.tezos domains. If you guys go ahead there and check, all the numbers are there. Everything is there. It's fresh from today. But from my point of view, the main problem with the DAOs are usually that it's hard to keep people active, and it's hard to keep enough people active to actually get the quorum and pass the quorums on multiple proposals. And what we have decided to do, and we have worked with Homebase on this quite a lot, was to have delegation voting in place from the start. So that actually means that you can check the list of public delegates, and if you find somebody who you agree with or who basically shares your vision for the project, you can delegate your tokens to them, and they will be voting on your behalf essentially. So this should help out with the participations, hopefully in the governance process quite a lot.
Okay, and for people who want to stake their TED tokens and want to participate in the governance process, can you tell us a little bit about the process of delegating or staking TED tokens?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So, of course, the dashboard is where all of this takes place on app.tezos.domains. Once your wallet's connected, super easy to access it. And so it'll actually pop up right at the top of the dashboard. And if you've already claimed your airdrop, the airdrop portion will be above that, of course. But right below it is the governance section, and it'll show how much TED you have in your pool, how much TED you've been rewarded, the APR at the moment, the price, and then from there, if you have TED in the wallet that's connected, it'll show you that you can, of course, deposit this and stake it. And then if you've already staked, it'll have a withdraw button. And then, of course, there's the delegation button in the top right, which will allow you to see the delegates. And right now it's sorted from, I believe, most to least delegated votes. So super straightforward. It's all there in the dashboard. And there's already a lot of great delegates from the Tezos community that are having others' votes represented through their voting. So super cool.
Very cool. So as you mentioned, your team worked closely with Homebase on streamlining the TED token delegating process. What was Homebase's role in making TED token staking work?
That's a great question. So it's we haven't worked with them on the staking itself, but on the delegation and the governance. So we're actually leveraging the Homebase platform for the entire governance process. What we have worked on with them was the delegation part. So before they didn't have the delegation feature in place, we have worked with them to have that, because we felt like it's super important for us, because otherwise it would be very hard to keep the governance active and working. So that's why we did what we did. The same contract that is being used for us is actually being used now on Homebase as a default one. So it's basically now the golden standard, let's say. And yeah, that's about it. We're super thankful to Homebase team, obviously, for working on it with us, and we're going to keep working with them on improvements in the future.
Yeah, that's great. We always like to see those kind of collaborations taking place here. So zooming out a tiny bit, like what we're really talking about here with the TED token and with the governance that you're talking about is a decentralized autonomous organization, aka a DAO. Can you talk a little bit about why DAOs are important to the ongoing health of the Tezos ecosystem?
I think this is essentially the only way forward. So the only way possible forward, if you think on a long-term enough basis. As the projects evolve, it's not going to be possible to maintain it with just a core team alone, and we need to have the support and ideas from the bigger community, right? So yeah, I don't actually think that the projects can survive on a long enough time basis on their own.
Makes sense. Also, decentralization is a term that we hear used a lot in the larger blockchain discussion. From your perspective, why is decentralization such an important aspect of a robust blockchain ecosystem?
Do you want to take this one, Ethan?
Yeah, I can take this one. Of course, it's super important to have the opinions of everyone in our community and allowing them to have a say in the future of the project. I think that's a huge part. Of course, a lot of our community have fantastic, innovative ideas that they're constantly bringing to the project. And like Andrew said, it's really hard for us to kind of keep up as just a core team. It's really important to have the effort of the community involved as well. So of course, this is just super great for having a kind of a larger base community that are helping with the decision making of the project and pushing it forward to greater lengths.
Makes sense. So speaking of involving the community, we have a bunch of questions that have come through from the audience. The first one being from Mikey, who would like to know, where can we buy TED tokens?
That's a great question.
Go ahead.
So right now for our decentralized exchange options, we have Plenty Network. Super great, super smooth interface, similar to Uniswap on Ethereum for those on the Ethereum chain. And then, of course, our centralized exchange listing on launch day was Gate.io, so it can also be traded there. Of course, we have some other exchanges in the works. I don't know if we can announce that. That might be Andrew's decision today, but yeah, right now Gate.io for centralized exchange and Plenty for the DEX.
Okay. Kelly would like to know, will TED tokens work with Ethereum compatible chains, or is it exclusive to Tezos?
No. So at the moment, this is FA2 standard token, so it's Tezos only.
Okay. And Felipe asks, what's the roadmap for TED?
That's a great question. So I don't think we should differentiate between the roadmap for TED as a token and the roadmap for Tezos Domains. So I'm just going to talk about the roadmap for Tezos Domain in general. We have quite a lot of ideas that we want to work on. But at the moment, basically everything we're going to go through the DAO. What we want to do is, for example, improve the secondary market at different type of auctions there. The one thing that we already talked about, which is pricing in stable coins, pricing in TED tokens with a discount, so discounted pricing for the TED token holders. I think there's a lot of things that can be improved. We would also like to do like a UX rehaul next year, but yeah, it will all depend on getting the proposals there and getting them approved by the DAO.
Okay. And the last one, how does TED token work with Tezos? Sorry. How will governance work on TED tokens? That's from Govi. I guess the specifics of how the TED tokens function in terms of governance.
Got it. So essentially, when you stake your token to the governance pool, you get TED-V in return. And then these TED-V tokens, if you're not delegating, you can vote on it. You can vote with them directly. If you're delegating, the delegate you choose is going to be voting for you. I'm not sure if there's anything more or that we can add here.
That's fair.
Ethan,
that's fair.
Do you have anything else?
You've muted yourself, Ethan. You're right. I think you covered yourself pretty well there. I don't really have much more to add.
Fair enough. So I wanted to get back to something that you mentioned a little bit earlier, which is that, as we know, many DAOs in the sort of larger blockchain space have struggled a bit with keeping voters engaged and participating over time. What do you see as the barrier that's preventing some of these DAOs from functioning in the way that they were intended to?
That's exactly what we briefly discussed earlier. I think that's why we have a delegation system in place. So for most of the DAOs, if you look at the participation levels and quorum levels, and if you look at how those looks like for similar sized DAOs where the delegation is actually enabled, this is something that I think is making the difference between working governance and not really working governance. So if you're struggling to get a quorum and if you're struggling to get anything passed and you need to rerun the votes 4 or 5 times and basically every time gather every single voter, that it's obviously not great. So I think this is one of the main issues at the moment with the DAOs, that usually people are not active. Not enough people are not active enough.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, it's basically there will be some people who are motivated to participate, who are actively involved, who are engaged, and if you present an opportunity for people who are less engaged to delegate to those people and you motivate them to do so, then that sort of drives the process forward. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for summing it up.
Okay. We're almost at the end here. Before we close off, I'd like to announce the winner of the Tezos Domains prize pack we're giving away today. Today's winner is #Autez2223. Congratulations, #Autez2223. To claim your prize, just email us at social@tezoscommons.org. We'll request a screenshot for verification that you're the account owner, and then we'll get your shiny new Tezos Domains prize pack over to you just as quick as we can. For those who missed out today, we remind you there are awesome giveaways to be found frequently here on the TezTalks live stream, so keep tuning in. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our social media contacts can be found at tezoscommons.org/TezTalks, and we'd love to hear from you. Andrew and Ethan, thanks so much for joining us today. It's always awesome to speak to the folks working behind the scenes on cool systems like Tezos Domains here in the Tezos ecosystem and keeping Tezos at the forefront of the Web3 revolution. Is there anything else either of you would like to mention before we sign off here?
Thank you for having us. I can speak for myself. It was blast. And guys, if you want to learn more, go ahead and just visit the website. It's Tezos.domains. If you want to read more what we've been doing lately, everything is on the blog.tezos.domains. And enjoy. Have a good day.
And Ethan, anything from you?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks again for having us. And thanks to everyone who tuned in, had some great questions about the project. Of course, if you didn't win the giveaway today, we frequently do giveaways within our Discord, which can be found at tezos.domains/discord. Right now, we're on day 12 of 30 of giveaways, actually. We're giving away 20 domains a day. So lots of value there if you didn't win today. Just thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Thank you very much. To everyone out there in Tezos land, thanks for joining us on the TezTalks live stream. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons, and our awesome guests have been Andrew Polachek and Ethan Herlihy from Tezos Domains. Now let's go claim our TED tokens.